You did what? said said Vivien. Uh, Now Violet, of course, knew what what she meant, and you, the listeners, I guess you know too. But it was news to Vivien, and Tira didn't know, and so and it was unlike Elaine to blurt that out. But that's the way she was in a way. It was like Elaine to just all of a sudden blurt something out, or do something without thinking a lot about it. She said, "Yes, I did something a little bit like that too. It didn't kill him, but it dropped him, and they called an ambulance. Who was it? What? Why did this happen?" And so Elaine explained that, and you listeners, you know already, but I'll say it again a little bit. She was talking to Vivien, and she said, "It was my second day at work. I got my first job, second day, and it was at the Moot Point. Have you heard of that? It's sort of like a beer hall west of Richland." And Vivien said, "Yes, I have heard of that. It's real new, isn't it? And kind of a different place." And Elaine said, "Yes, and it's wonderful, and I loved it until this guy came in. I was working the pool table." Uh, and see, the owner, Omar, he and his wife, they're renovating an old dairy barn, and there's enough room in the bottom, that's where it is, that they can have a pool table. And I was working that spot, and these guys came in, and the five guys, the biggest was the nastiest of them all, but they were all disgusting. Well, who were they? And Elaine said, "I don't know who they were. They called the big guy Big Bubba, is all I know." At which Vivien said, "What? You did that to Big Bubba?" Uh, and Elaine said, "Yeah, he took that pool cue, and he was poking around my body. He was being so disgusting, and they were, they were big guys, but Big Bubba was the biggest. Sleeveless shirts, tattoos all over, wore his hat inside, didn't take his hat off, talking loud, disgusting." So anyway, I said to him, "You probably squat to pee." At which his buddies, they all thought that was so funny that someone would say that to Big Bubba. And while they were laughing, I grabbed the pool. I was so mad. I grabbed the pool cue and I flipped it around, and with the big end of it, I poked him right in the nuts. I guess I should say gonads or testicles or something. But I was so mad, and down he went. And I grabbed my purse and I marched out of there, and I figured I'd never come back. But the owner, he wants me back, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back. I'm not afraid of this guy. And at that point, Vivien had to speak up. She said, "Do you know who Big Bubba is?" And Elaine said, "No, I don't care." Well, I want to tell you, his real name is Boris. Boris Gaines the second, Jr. Boris Gaines Jr. Just second, whatever. I didn't know him well, but I certainly knew of him. He was 3 years younger than me, or he is, and he went to Richland High School, where I went as well. His dad, Boris Gaines Sr., was the VOAG teacher there. Back then they had a vocational agriculture program, and he drove in from his farm, which was out toward Charlottesville way, and Boris, he rode with his father. See, he was a farm boy, and he rode with his father into the high school for those years, and the thing is, he was the nicest guy. He was so polite, and but what people mostly knew about him, or maybe still know, they might have forgotten now. He was so big and so strong that he was the North Virginia heavyweight wrestling champion both his junior and senior years in high school. But he was the kind of guy that he was gentle as could be. Sometimes really big guys like that, they don't have to be blowing off or bragging or whatever. They don't need to, because they're big enough anyway. And that's just the way he was. He was so nice. And of course the girls loved him, but he only had eyes for his hometown sweetheart, who still went to the high school that he would have gone to if he wasn't being brought into Richland. Charlene, he ended up marrying Charlene. See, he's been talked about a lot here, especially when he made that change. So he was just a heck of a guy, and he was smart. He could have gone to a good college. He went into the military. And there's some people, a lot of people, think that that's what happened. Something changed him at some point. And, some people say it was the military. Myself, I don't believe it. But others say it was drugs. He got on drugs, or it was booze. It just doesn't fit. I don't think that's what it was. But everybody agreed that he had made this complete change. So, you did that to Boris, Big Bubba, Boris Gaines Jr. Wow. Well, Violet, no one else said anything for a while, and then Violet spoke up and she says, well, along the same lines, I've got to go to court on Monday morning. I've been accused of assault with a deadly weapon and attempted murder.